Hello, everybody. Randy Patterson here with Boomerocity. If you followed Boomerocity for very long, well, let's even go back to the first year or two, you will know that I'm not the least bit afraid to reach out and talk to bands from elsewhere other than the US or even the UK. Interviews that come to mind are the gentleman Tack from Japan. I have a big group that was there. They're huge in Japan. Tried to make a breakthrough here in the U.S. and did an interview with him by email. Also, I interviewed my good friend Giancarlo Stefan of the band from Mexico called Elan, and that developed into a very good friendship with that interview, but they were a great rock band from Mexico. It brings me a lot of joy to bring to you today my interview with Diego Bull Avello from the band Los Buffaloes. I hope I haven't mangled that too terribly much, Bull. Beat me up later if I have. But do I ever genuinely love this band? They bring American rock and roll from the heart of a man from Spain, if you can imagine that. He has a band that he plays in Europe, he plays in the U.S., he plays in Mexico, and he's winning fans over very fast. When you listen to this music, and I encourage you to do so, especially the video I have embedded on this page, I think you're going to become a fan right away. He's good old rock and roll. And how ironic it is, it's from a man from Spain. So we had a great chat and had a lot of fun talking about the business, about his love for the music, his background. So without any further ado, I want to introduce to you my new friend, Diego Bull Avello from the band Los Buffaloes. Until next time, this is Randy Patterson with Boomerocity. Take care. Hello, Diego. How you doing?
How you doing, sir? Nice to meet you.
And likewise. Where are you dialing in from?
I'm dialing in from Georgetown, Texas.
Okay. All right. Gotcha. I used to live further north up in McKinney and in the Dallas area there.
Oh, that's a good area for camping, and there is a lake there, right, too.
Yep.
I like your background with the album. That's pretty cool.
I thought you might like that.
Thank you very much.
Hey, it's all about you guys and you who make the music. So anything I can do to help sell some albums, that's what it's all about. So
we need that. I really appreciate it.
So before we get into talking about this new EP, I was curious, how did you handle the shutdown and the pandemic while it was taking place? Did you do a lot of writing and recording, or what did you do during that time?
Well, with the shutdown and the lockdown, what I did is I went camping, which I'm doing camping right now. If you can tell, I'm in a shelter and I have my tent right back. So because I couldn't work, I decided to go camping, and I started writing songs right in the same table that I am right now. So I'm going to start writing songs, the Fury songs. And I was most of the time camping and enjoying the lake and kayaking and living in the nature, which inspired me a lot to write the album. And by the way, I recorded with a hand recorder in this same table.
Is that right? Wow. Very cool.
A lot of people, they don't believe it, because I received a call for a recording studio in Austin. And they asked me the same question. Hey, Bull, because the pandemic, are you writing new songs? I said, indeed, I am. So I'm recording a demo with a hand recorder, and I put the guitars with a laptop. My guy in Spain, the guitar player, was doing it. So we finished the demo, and literally sounds killer. It sounds so good. And man, I was recorded with a hand recorder with batteries. I don't have electricity or running water here.
Right.
So I sent them to the studio, and they asked me, where did you record this? Did you see in a picnic table? So no, seriously, where? No, I'm talking seriously. I did it with a hand recorder here and a laptop. And I say, well, Bull, it sounds killer. I don't think you should do anything. Just master it and send it to. So we thought to do it like record it again. But we didn't have the same vibe or the same energy, so we decided to put the album Fury out recorded on a picnic table with a laptop and a hand recorder.
That is too funny. Now, the word can't get out too far on that, or recording studios will start going out of business, huh? So, yeah. And then your camping ground will get booked up, and then you won't be happy anymore, right? So,
that's true. That's true.
Well, do you see? Have you? I mean, obviously you're playing gigs again and such. Are you seeing any impact from the pandemic now as compared to what it was like before the shutdown?
Oh yes, definitely, because a lot of venues were run out of business. They closed, and some of the booking agents, they are not the same ones. So this year is kind of reinventing again to make new contacts, new venues, and we are trying to adjust to the new situation. But definitely, there was a huge impact. A lot of musicians quit, and they having I always say normal jobs. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, the impact, and a lot of people get depressed because I lost my job and I lost my joy.
Yeah.
And everything is about playing for you. Means we are entertainer, so that's our mission in this society. Like make your life easier and happier, and we couldn't. So yeah, definitely, there was a huge impact, and we are trying to adjust again to the new situation.
Yeah, I'm hearing that a lot. I mean, there's a big happiness now that we get to enjoy live music again, but for the longest time, for several months, I would rarely see anyone wearing a mask. Now that it's getting colder again, I'm seeing more of it. I sure hope we don't have another shutdown. I mean, you hear stories back and forth, but I think if there were to be, I think musicians and everybody, the people that are still playing, already know what they would do next and be able to get the music out. And but let's hope that doesn't happen, because we're enjoying getting out again and hearing bands like yours. And I was very intrigued when Carol sent me the information on you and the band. I was listening to it, and she asked me if I was interested in talking to you. I said, yeah, because I love it. I hadn't heard of you before, but my goodness, I love your sound. I love the energy and the vibe that you guys have. And so for Boomerocity viewers, tell people a little bit about you and your band so they can be a little more familiar about you.
Okay, so for my real name is Diego. Everybody call me the Bull because I'm a big guy, 6'6". I'm very stubborn. So I was born in Spain, in a small town, in a small mountain town. But I get in love with American rock and roll music from the 50s and 60s and 70s. So I became to be a rock and roll singer in that small town, and with a dream that flying to America and playing rock and roll with the people that created. So here I am. So I started playing rock and roll in Spain, and then I moved to Mexico, and after Mexico, the United States. So I was doing the same project, Bull y los Búfalos, in Spain, then in Mexico, and now here in Texas, in Alta California. So I'm very influenced about Southern rock music, honky tonk blues, and obviously rock music and classic rock and roll from the 50s. I'm trying to mix all those influence with this thick accent that I have and put some Spaniard touch in my music. So far it's going well. It's hard because our sound, I don't want to say that we are, every musician say we sound different. We really, but that mix between the Spaniard culture and American rock and roll, it definitely keep us in a different position of other, not better or worse than other musicians. So I can do a whole show in English and I can do a whole show in Spanish, but I like to mix both.
Mm-hmm.
So the guys, they are from America, most of them. They brought their own culture to the band and co-write some songs with me, and definitely they did a great job. And this is what we do is a mix of culture. That is what the music is about.
Mm-hmm. I agree. Well, the outcome is wonderful. I love it, and whatever you're doing, man, keep doing more of it, because it's grabbed my attention, and I hope to help get a lot more people aware of you guys, so you can get more. So geographically, where do you play? Where do you is it mostly there in South Texas, or do you tour around elsewhere? Tell people about that.
Well, most of the time we play in Texas. You know, Texas is very big, and people here say everything is bigger in Texas. So, so Texas is like a own country. It's twice Spain. So we tour a lot we used to tour a lot in Texas, like Corpus Christi, Austin, Dallas, Houston, San Antonio. But also I was living in California, in LA, during 1 year and a half, and I play a lot there, especially in Los Angeles. So right now we're going to play in LA again on December. And talking about another states, we're going to open for Ace Frehley, the guitar player of Kiss, the guitar hero. We're going to play in Michigan and Ohio, 3 gigs with him. We're going to be the supporting band or the open band. So yes, we now we're trying to reach another states besides California and Texas. They are the main ones, the big ones, and the ones that I used to live. So, but I would like to play it everywhere, of course.
Well, of course. Wow, what a great opportunity to open for Ace. He was one of my first interviews I did when I launched Boomerocity 13 and a half years ago, and very nice guy. So I'm sure you're going to have a lot of fun opening for him. And
of course, we love him and we love Kiss. And when I was 7 years old or something like that, I talk a lot, by the way.
That's fine.
I remember how I was 5 years on the. You remember that song from the Kiss, "Lick It Up"? Lick it up. Yep. Whoa, whoa. So I was a kid. I didn't know anything about English, so I barely speak Spanish. So I said "Kiki Los," and instead of "Lick It Up," "Kiki Los." So I remember I was asking my father all the time, playing the Kiki Los song. So and now here I am opening for that guitar player in Michigan and Ohio, which is a guitar hero, and definitely we are very honored and lucky to be the supporting band.
Absolutely. Well, I think you've earned it, because the sound, it works well with the venue and the act you're touring with. I mean, Ace is, he's a legend there. So
yeah, it is.
So tell me, you told me a little bit already about how you put this album together. Is this going to be? It's really not an album. It's what we call an EP. It's got a small number of songs on there. Is this kind of like an introductory to another album that you have in the works, or what's your plan with that?
When I was writing the songs for the EP, the way that we recorded, I told you, is very difficult. But we couldn't go to the studio because the lockdown, and we didn't have enough money to afford it. So I have more songs. I always write in songs. So I decided to put the EP with 3 songs. And now with the record label, Paramore Records and Paramore Group, we're thinking about going single by single instead of full album. So we didn't decide yet what we're going to do in 2023. We're going to release new music, but we are not sure if we're going to do it single by single or just a full album. I'd rather do single by single, because that way you can focus in one song, get the sound that you wanted, working on it very hard, make a nice video and put it out, instead of full album. These days it's more about songs than albums. The old days used to be more about albums.
I agree.
But these days it's more about songs.
Yeah, no, I agree. For old timers like me, though, we always enjoyed, opening up the big albums, and while it was playing on the turntable, reading all the liner notes and such. And then as we got older, they came out with the CDs and the print got smaller and we couldn't read them.
Yeah. So and now it's about 45. So it's just what the song is playing, and is what we do.
Yeah. Yep. I agree. So what's been the response so far from Fury? It's, I know I love it, like I said, but what are you hearing from others about it?
Well, we have a very, very good feedback. The single Dinero Primero is the number one song. It's on radio. It is like now in 12 stations, which is very good. I have a good friend in KLBJ radio. His name is L.A. Lloyd. He's a legendary rock DJ. And he called me and said, "Bull, this is a hit. This is very unique sound and very catchy chorus, and that mixing between Spaniard and American blues, Texas rock. It is pretty cool." So the people is telling me that it's different and it's fresh, but at the same time it has that vintage ZZ Top vibe.
Yeah.
So having something that it has that, and I love ZZ Top, of course, having that flavor, but adding our own culture and our own our touch. So the feedback is being pretty well. Now we're trying to put it in more radios and magazines and interviews like we're having. But the feedback is pretty is very good. I'm very happy and very proud.
Well, good.
And very grateful too.
Right. Well, you know, I mean, you live in Texas. I used to live in Texas. I grew up in Arizona. So I to some people in other parts of the country, they may have this vision that there is this division between, you know, the how would you put it? You know, the gringo versus the Hispanic and Latino cultures. But really in the States, you know, there's some separation, but we all kind of shop together and, you know, go to church together and all that kind of stuff. But what are you, I would imagine with a band like yours that it is going really far in bringing everybody even closer together than we already were, because there's something unifying about music and especially about rock and roll. But are you seeing that in the crowds that you play to, that there is a blending in of the cultures and a even better getting along? I mean, we've always got along, but even better getting along because it's music and it's fun and it's everybody's having a good time.
Well, that's a very good question. The thing in Texas, that's where I live in, we have that Tex-Mex culture that is mixing the Texan meets the Mexican. So the places like San Antonio, that is totally bilingual and is half, let's say, American people and half Mexican heritage. Yes, we see that when we play there. We see the mixing of cultures and blending both cultures. And other places is a little more difficult, like Amarillo, the north. The mix is not so. It is not so blended yet.
Right.
I believe music is the fastest way to bring people together.
I agree.
And it happened in this country with the bluesmen and the honky tonkers, with the black people playing blues and white people playing honky tonk music, and then putting together, and then rock and roll were born. So in this country, you know better than me, in the old days there was just people, radios for black people, radios for white people, and now we have music for everyone, and rock and roll brought that together. It's a culture bridge, and we would love to see that more than we see it. With us, sometimes is, "Oh, so you are a Latin band?" Well, not exactly, because we play American rock and roll with American people, but I'm from Spain, I'm European, but at the same time I'm Latin. So it's American rock and roll band? Not exactly. So it is difficult. Sometimes we having that problem that, well, what is these guys doing? I said, well, they doing their own style. They do, and they mixing both cultures. So we see it. We see it in Texas. We see it in South Texas more than North Texas. But sometimes it's difficult, and some festivals they prefer like straight American Southern rock, and there are some festivals that are 100% Latin in Spanish. So it's coming together. It's coming together slow, but it's coming together.
I see. One question just popped in my mind, and I, pardon my ignorance on this, but I'm not as entrenched into the Latino culture as I would like to be, but I was curious if you ever see any resistance at all within the culture. You being from Spain and then playing to a Tex-Mex crowd or to to a predominantly Latino crowd. Is there ever a thing where, like, for me, to put another angle to it, I live in East Tennessee. I live up in the Smoky Mountains, and some people might, up north, up in Michigan where you're going to play, they might look at me as saying, "Oh, well, you're a hillbilly because you live in the Smoky Mountains." Okay, well, true, but we're all Americans. So do you see, or have you heard anything to where there might be a little resistance from the Latino culture towards you at all? I don't sense it, but I was curious if you do.
It's a good question too. I did most of the time. I play a lot in bikers events. So bikers events, they like southern rock, like Josh Thorogood, Kid Rock, ZZ Top, Marshall Tucker Band. So when I send EPK trying to book a gig, oh yeah, in a nice way. Sometimes say, well, this is mostly like Anglo people. They say, no, my songs are in English. I'm seeing sometimes in Spanish. So since I play in a lot of biker events, I broke that line that the people, they don't tag me as a Latino band, which is nothing wrong with that, of course. And so I broke that line that I can play in most of the people that I think I have more Anglo followers than Hispanic followers in United States. Obviously, in Spain and Mexico, no, but here. But I remember one time in LA that I was about to play in a gig, and the owner of the gig told me, "Well, by the way, you can sing in Spanish." So what do you mean I can sing in Spanish? Is half of the repertoire is in Spanish. I believe my manager told you that. I was with another company, not with the company that I have right now. So he told me, no, because this is a rock country bar. And they say, well, honestly, half of the people in the bar are Latinos. I can tell. Well, I don't think so. Well, let's talk with them. So I went and I talked in Spanish. ¿Qué tal, amigos? ¿Cómo estáis? And they say, man, that is very weird. I mean, my music is bilingual, so it's what I do, and I'm gonna do it. So I have Willie Nelson, Seven Spanish Angels.
Mm-hmm.
I did that song in Spanish. So we sang that. It's in my album Animal. Is the bonus track in my album, and I sang in a cappella with acoustic guitar, and we sang that song, and the people love it. So most of the time, I will receive it, even if my accent is thick, and I play in biker places and things like that. Sometimes I feel some resistance. Sometimes about my accent or. Sometimes at the beginning of the concert, when they hear my accent, I say, "Don't you worry, guys. I don't speak English very well, but I speak rock and roll pretty good."
I love it. I love it. Well, a few years ago, I developed a good friendship with Giancarlos Defan, who is with the band Elon out of Mexico. And they had a very good reception. And in fact, I need to get back in touch with him. It's been too long since I've spoke with him. But very big in Mexico, and they were making some pretty good inroads here into the U.S. and large segments of the country. So I think you're going to do extremely well here. And and quite frankly, I think that venue manager was wrong, because there are a lot of areas where there is that blend, and I hope to see more of it, because I think that's what's going to help unite us, and help us, to be. I mean, there's nothing, like I said earlier, more unifying than music, and I think that that's going to go a long way into building bridges and strengthening culture, and peace and prosperity. I really do believe that. So, what is on your radar for the next year or so? What do you got planned?
Well, we are working in new songs, and we are working in a couple of covers too. We have two videos for the Fury that we didn't release yet, so we're gonna do it this Christmas. And Dean, our manager, is working in a tour, starting in Texas and some biker events and things like that. So mostly we're gonna be focusing releasing singles with videos, and obviously recording new music and trying to play as much we can. And I'm gonna be very focused on publishing. I have 3 songs on a TV show, so I want to keep feeding that business because it's a good promotion and it's come royalties, and you feel very proud when you hear your music on a TV show.
Mm-hmm. Well, you can point back to that for years to come because people always remember that, and that's wonderful. No matter how long the TV shows go, you can there's always people that will remember that show and remember those songs. It goes a long way. Do you keep the same band members, or do you change them out a lot when you with this band, or is it the same people all the time?
I change the musicians a lot. Means I have 4 bands, 4 Buffalos. I have the Buffalos in Spain, that is the original band.
Right.
I have the Buffalos in Mexico. When I play in Mexico, I play with them. And I have my band here in Texas and another band in California. Oh. So it's just depend when I'm playing. I'm using one chapter or another. So it is very difficult to keep the same band together because the people are busy. Musicians are busy. So some of the musicians are playing in 10 bands. Yep. And when you call them, they say, I'm sorry, I can't. I will love, but I can. And so it is difficult to keep the band together and with the same vibe, with the same energy, with the same direction. And so I have a good friendship with all of them. They sound different, but I write the songs. So I'm trying to keep unified the vibe and the sound. And for example, from now that we're going to play in California and in Michigan and Ohio, I'm going to play with the California band.
Oh, very good. Very good. Well, I hope you get to play out this way, East Tennessee, Atlanta, Kentucky, the Carolinas, any of those places.
I would love that. I think we will do it pretty well in that area.
Yeah, I think you would too. And I mean, exactly because of what you said, that Southern rock influence and such. And maybe you can open for some of those bands and be able to move forward that way. So I know this will be a dumb question because I know pretty much what everybody's going to say, but everybody says it a little bit differently. What are your long-term goals? What do you hope to accomplish, say, in the next 5 years?
Well, first of all, to be alive.
Well, that helps.
Yeah, alive and healthy. So, well, my goals are the same goals that I had when I started music. Is like keep playing music that I love, keep playing music that I like. I don't want to sell my soul for money or for fame or for a bigger audience. Keep enjoying this country and this culture. I'm enjoying this culture and this country a lot. And the goals is like keep it real. Trying to keep it means I'm fighting a lot to keep my soul, myself, and my music real. So sometimes you feel tempted to do something different because the lack of money or the struggling situations. But then I remember why I came to this country, and I came to this country to enjoy rock and roll and to learn from you and to share what I do. And my goals are still the same, to keep it real and keep it simple, keep it raw. If I have to record again at Picnic Table, I will. If I have to go to a recording studio, and trying to enjoy as much as I can and pay my bills.
There you go. Well, you've made a fan out of me, Bull. I love your sound. I've been listening to this as well as some of your previous work, and when this interview posts, I will be posting to your website and making people aware of all the other music you've done, and hopefully they'll start following you and showing up to your gigs and buying all your music, because I believe in you, and I think other people will love what they hear when they take the opportunity to listen to your work. So My door's always open to you now, my friend. I feel like I've made a new friend, and I want to always be here to help you promote whatever you've got going on. Okay.
Well, I want to say thank you, because I really appreciate what you're doing, and you have a friend here. You have an amigo here.
All right.
And I really appreciate that what you're doing for us and for the music and for the rock and roll. And I'm glad that you like your music. That's the best compliment. And thank you very much for your support and your friendship.
My pleasure. And let's talk a lot in the future. Okay.
Whenever you want. Thank you, sir.
All right. Thank you, and be safe out there, and we'll talk to you soon. Take care.
Talk soon. Take care.
Right. Bye-bye. Bye.